story I'm about to relate to you is so horrifying, so disturbing, that it took me months to be able to tell it to you now. Will and I had been hiking for a few hours before the first snowflakes floated over our heads. At first, we both shrugged them off. Hell, we barely noticed until the wind changed direction and picked up speed. A solid foot of snow already covered the ground, and the sky threatened more. But we were a couple daredevils who liked to brave the elements. Allegheny National Forest in western Pennsylvania couldn't have fit the bill better, so there we were. The lake effect snow churned up rapidly, and the trail ahead faded under the white sheets coming down. It didn't take long for us to realize how in over our heads we really were. Will suggested we break off the main trail and head north, because we had a better chance of reaching some kind of hiking station that way. After an hour of snow thrashing our faces and wind numbing our fingers, we came upon a wooden hut perched on a hill. A clump of pine trees surrounded it, and at the tree line, we spotted a man waving at us. When we got closer, he asked if we needed help. We said yes. We were looking for shelter until the storm let up a bit. He grimaced through the wind and motioned for us to enter the hut. Will and I smiled disbelievingly at each other. How lucky were we to find this place? The hut was more like a one-story log house. When we entered, the man introduced himself as Ben. Though short, he held broad shoulders and wore a thick black beard. The only thing unsightly about him was his yellow teeth. Ben said he took care of the place for his elderly parents. Spending time in nature appealed to him much more than city life. Will and I laughed and agreed. We settled in, seated next to the fire that Ben started in the living room hearth. Ben made us a simple chicken stew and poured some wine. The three of us talked for a while as night drew in. I glanced out the window now and then, but it didn't seem like the snow was letting up. The time came to hit the hay. Ben offered one of us the spare bedroom and said the other could sleep on the couch in the living room. After winning rock, paper, scissors, Will claimed the spare bedroom, and I went on the couch. Ben took the master bedroom. I drifted into a heavy, haunted sleep beside the dwindling fire. I was running through the frigid woods alone, and I keenly felt like something was right behind me, hiding in the trees. This presence was going to seize me at any moment. My leg caught a fallen branch, and I fell over facing up. A hideous, ashen face with pointy yellow teeth flashed above me. I awoke with a start, but my head was pounding. My arms and legs felt like they weighed 10 tons. Something wasn't right. I looked around. The house was as still as could be, and the fire had long died out. The faintest light of day was breaking outside, and thankfully, the snow had stopped. But I couldn't shake this weight on my body, and this vague dread that hovered over me. Mustering all my strength, I rolled off the couch and crept to the spare bedroom. The door stood half open, and upon peeking my head in, I noticed that Will wasn't in his bed. I crossed the hall to the master bedroom. There, too, the bed was empty. How strange, I thought. I don't remember hearing anybody wake up. A quick search of the kitchen and living room turned up nothing. Nobody. Even Will's backpack was missing. I was leaning against the counter at the back window, running through the possible scenarios of where he might have gone. To get help? To check out the surrounding area? Maybe to just go on a walk with Ben. I decided to put my coat and boots on to go looking for them. That's when I noticed a heavy wooden door bolted shut in the corner. On pure instinct, it gave me the creeps, but a strange feeling impelled me to check it out. After rummaging through a few cupboards, I chanced upon a set of keys, one of which looked like it fit the bolt on the door. It did. The wooden steps creaked and groaned under my feet. The light from upstairs only reached as far as the bottom of the landing, and from there, I turned on the flashlight I found in one of the cupboards. There was a door on the wall to my left. I thought I heard something coming from the other side, so I quietly moved forward and looked in through the crack. It was a long, narrow room. A dim light hung on the ceiling. At the far end of the room, a man was hunched over a table, rifling through a hiking backpack. Rope, compass, charger, whistle. Each of these items he methodically placed on the table. The man, I realized, was Ben, and the items he was setting down were Will's. Without even thinking, I bolted back up the basement stairs. I had no mind of my own then. Absolute terror took over my legs, and all I could think to do was run. The last thing I heard from that house as I burst out the front door was the desperate, angry sound of Ben's voice screaming, "Stop, stop." They never did find Will's body. The police combed the hills around the house. They dug up the basement. They even dispatched divers to the bottom of a nearby lake. After all that, they only found Will's tattered clothes strewn in the snow a quarter mile from the house. I was lucky that a group of hikers found me so soon after I got back to the main trail. As for Ben, well, he vanished. The house belonged to a Mr. and Mrs. Whitaker, who had no son to speak of. They hadn't been up there for a few years, so it's unclear how this man gained access to the house. I'm sorry. This has been hard for me to talk about. What did I learn? If I had to give anyone advice, it would be this: be wary of the kindness of strangers. You never know what motives they might have.